Sorry. Hello, Sagittarius. Welcome to your reading. So we're doing our family checkups. Let's see, what does God want you to know when it comes to family? Sagittarius. Okay, so we got generational programming wanting to show itself. Which is a natural thing, because we only can teach what we have learned, and that rings true for each generation. So it's like you can only teach your children what you've learned. Your parent can only teach you what they've learned. Their parents can only teach them what they've learned, and so on and so on. So it's up to each generation to assess the way that we've been raised and the way that we've been taught, so that we can then make adjustments that will serve our greatest good, not just blindly repeat traditions and cultures that are not serving our highest good, or else it's pointless, and that's why so many people live miserable lives, because they're not living their truth. They're just following what their mother and father taught them. So it's like a lot of people cook the way their parents taught them. A lot of people clean the way their parents taught them. A lot of people deal with money how they were taught. When it comes to education, a lot of people are still living life how they were taught by their parents. But the truth of the matter is, life moves on. We become wiser. So when we become wiser, why repeat things that we know are not serving our greatest good? It just doesn't make any sense. As human beings, we are meant to grow, because we all come here as virtually blank canvases. We come here as a computer without much programming, and it is up to our parents and our society to then program us. Now, the difference is what kind of information is being put into the younger ones. And the programming never stops, so what kind of information is being put into the older ones as well, And when we reach a certain stage of maturity, we realize that we have the power over how we are actually programmed, or what we allow our programming to be about. And so we should use that power for our greatest good. If it's not working for you, change it. If you don't agree with it, don't co-sign it. Seek your own truth, seek your own understanding. So let's see, what else does God want you to know? Sagittarius. Okay, the underlying issue is maturity. Yeah, at some point we have to grow up. Okay, so the first card we have come out, we got disagreement, and we have hedonism. So hedonism is the belief that our purpose as human beings is only to satisfy our desires. So it's like, do what you will type energy. It's like, do whatever you want. It's what I want to do, so I'm gonna do it. God said, yeah, no, that's not how this goes. That's not very mature at all, because we're not here by ourselves, are we? Our actions, our choices, they affect other people. So imagine if everybody was to practice hedonism. Imagine if everybody was to be inconsiderate of other people's well-being. If everybody was to be totally ignorant, or inconsiderate, I should say, of another person's well-being, then it will be utter chaos. And to avoid chaos, this is the reason why we have rules. This is the reason why we have universal rules and we have rules of the land or law of the land. So there's universal law and there is the law of the land as well. It's so that there could be some resemblance of care for each person. Because if everybody was to live life just to fulfill their own desires, irrespective of how other people feel or how other people would react and all of that, it will be utter chaos. So that can't be it. So this is why God is urging you to let go of that philosophy. That's not a healthy philosophy to live by. And there are rules. So if you are the type of person that can get around the rules of the land when it comes to your hedonism, you will not be able to escape the universal rules or the universal law. And every bit of pain that you have inconsiderately put out there into the world, you will have to expect some of it to come back. So this feels like a warning. God is saying you need to disagree with hedonism. And the underlying issue, as I said, we got maturity. So let's look at it. We got maturity, separation, guide them, don't control them. So I'm hearing like you're making people be like that as well. It's witchcraft. And it's poor parenting. So the way that you're raising the generations after you to be, which is adhering to this practice of hedonism, God says that's wrong. That's very poor parenting. It's poor schooling. Yeah, God says that's not the way. We need to live a life where we are considerate of how our actions affect another person, or else we have to be ready to accept when people do us wrong as well and be totally inconsiderate of how their actions will affect us. What we put out is what we should expect back. It's as simple as that. So if you don't want it for yourself, then you really shouldn't put it out into the world. And especially teaching other people to be like that. It's poor parenting, God said, clear as day. This is why I love oracle cards. I love tarot, but not everybody understands tarot. But when you see the words themselves, then you cannot doubt. You can try to fool yourself if you want to. But other people can see it there, clear as day. So it's like there's a separation from the maturity. So you're not being mature. And you're forcing them to be the way that you are. But the thing is, if you have been getting away with your ruthlessness, because that's what hedonism causes people to be, ruthless, careless, thoughtless. Okay? If you have been able to get away with your ruthlessness up until now, it doesn't mean that the generations after you that you're teaching to be like that are also going to be as quote unquote lucky. The world is changing. And perhaps back in the day, people were a lot more humble. People were a lot more prone to peace. But in this day and age, a lot of people are willing to stand up to defend their honor. And if you love your children, you will teach them the truth. You will teach them the truth about what life is really about. This is not 1950s and 1960s where people were practicing a lot more modesty and being a lot more conservative and accommodating and wanted to keep the peace, and yeah, this is not those times. So if you love your people, you will teach them. It's not right. Because maybe people fear you. So you can get away with hedonism because people fear you. Everybody don't have the mindset or even that desire to behave in that way that would make people fear them. And like I said, maybe you are not used to being retaliated against, but we are in different times now. Teach your children the truth. Guide them. Don't control them to be like you. God say there need to be a disagreement when it comes to this practice of hedonism. It's not all about you. And people will not always be afraid to stand up for their right against you. Okay? So, if you love your children, you will protect them by teaching them the right thing. Until next time, Sagittarius, take care of yourself. Bye-bye.